Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to take a look at a package that I just received yesterday in the mail. It's from a company that makes beautiful watercolor palettes called Alchemist X's Journey. It's a very hard to say name, but we're going to take a look at what they sent. I actually started to open the box yesterday and I was like, oh, this package is way too pretty. I need to wait and do this on camera. We've got this beautiful printed tissue and sticker with their brand name, Alchemist X's Journey. I love how they folded the paper. I'm gonna have to remember that when I do some Christmas wrapping this year, because that's such a great trick to fold the pleat, to put like a pleat in the middle so that it fits your box perfectly. I love that. She included a little note card. Dear Lindsay, I'm so excited that you are willing to try our watercolor palette. I hope you will like our recently upgraded palette with glazed ceramic. Have fun painting, Kay. Thank you for your order. Very cool, very cool. What do we start with? I don't know. Let's start with this because I have a feeling that everything's gonna maybe like connect together. I love the packaging. I love that it's kind of all organic materials, like with this corrugated, or would you call it corrugated paper? I think this might be really cool to use on the jelly plate because it's got a neat texture to it. Or even just reuse for wrapping, you know? I do try to reuse packaging so that anytime I have to mail something, I'll just use something that's already there rather than create new waste. This is like a glassine bag, it feels like or a coated tissue paper or something. This is, I'm not sure what this material is. It feels like it might be, like it's probably 3D printed. But then there's a ceramic inlay right there, and I think that's ceramic too. Wow, I wonder how they get that such thin ceramics. Ooh, they got magnets. Look at that. That's really cool. So no wonder it's got a little bit of a heft to it. I wouldn't call it heavy. It's not as heavy as like, well, you know, it's probably a little, about the same or a little heavier than a metal tin. Oh, that's so satisfying. It's got some really nice, I would say they're probably rare earth magnets. That is so cool. Those really hold in there well though, because sometimes when you put like the magnet tape on the back of your pans, they fall out. Well, that's really cool. And in here, it looks like we have some, additional pans. All different sizes here. Let's, they're all sticking together. Samples. Oh, look at these are like, oh my gosh, these are like the size of the Gansai Tambi pans, but they've divided them up a little bit. That's really cool. That would be cool if you wanted to like, I have a palette that actually has holes for the Gansai style pans, or if you want to mix and match with some in a palette with Gansai pans. Look at those little half pans that are divided up. I love stuff like that. That's really cool for those colors you don't use very often. Very nice, and all magnetic. This is a magic eraser. Dampen the eraser with water and squeeze out the excess. Test on a small area first. Gently rub stained areas of the mixing tray or palette. Rinse and dry the cleaned area thoroughly. Store in a cool place. Oh yeah, this is a melamine sponge. You can also use these for erasing, for lifting up stuff on your paintings. I do think it abrades the surface a bit, so I would do that only if you're sure you're not going to repaint over the area, but that's neat that they included that. I reckon that the ceramic areas wouldn't stain, but maybe the plastic areas, plastic usually stains. We've got care instructions in here. Nice. I won't, if you want to, you know what, I'll do this, and if you want to pause the video, you can pause it. That way, if you've bought one of these palettes and lost the care instructions, you can have them. And what is this? This feels like another palette box, maybe? I think so. Oh! Hey, you know what these are? This is cool. These are, for like making your color wheels. Let's just move that. This is for like making color wheels and like drawing out like color wheels and swatch things. I'll just put each one down so you can see what they look like. Oh, that one's very cool. Well, you know what we're going to have to do? I think we're going to have to put some paint in our palette and we're gonna have to try these out because why not, right? Why not? This is fun. We're gonna have to try these out. I wonder if this box is magnetic. No, that box is not magnetic. This is just holding our stencils, and why not? It's the perfect size. It's the perfect size for those. So this is really unique. This is cool. I'm very excited to give it a try. I don't know what size palette pans I'm going to want to use or what paints I'm going to put in here. So you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to think about it, and then I will pour out my paints, and then we can try those stencils and swatching. And you know, these are so cute. I bet these would be really fun to like to make the designs and then use them on cards. Don't you think that would be really fun and cute to do? Well, we're gonna do that. So I will also, by the way, have all this stuff linked in the video description, so you can check them out if you want to. But yeah, let me fill this up, and maybe a few days before I finish this video, because I may want to let them dry. I may just want to charge one in, who knows. But boy, these are so cool. I'm kind of curious as to how, I wonder if there's like a mathematical, I'm just wondering how is the best way to make use of the palette. You know what I mean? Probably the full pans. I do like full pans. Or is there a certain amount of these that would go in there? You'd have room for a little travel brush if you did that, probably. Probably some combination of these. I might be simple and go with all the full pans. I honestly don't bring that many paint colors out with me when I'm traveling, so I'll probably be just basic and boring and do my tried and true colors. But that's really neat. That's really neat. Are the half pans exactly are they exactly half the size of the full pans? Let's see. Ooh, I don't know if they are. Maybe if I had them on a middle one. Sometimes the middles are bigger. Ooh, well, no, I don't think I can fit. I don't think I can fit two of the half pans exactly in the space of one of the full pans. That's okay. We have lots of options here, so I am not worried about it. The wall's very thick on these palettes, a little bit thicker than, they're kind of similar to the Portable Painter Micro, how thick those walls are a little thicker. Actually, these might be a little bit thicker than those even. I think I like the, I think I'm just a basic girl. I like the full pans. But we'll see. When I choose my colors, we'll see if I want to do more colors than, what is this, 12? More than 12, and then if so, I'll pull out some of the divided ones. These are kind of cool. I gotta see if these are actually the same size as the Gansai pan. I bet they are. So yeah, let me go figure out what I'm gonna put in here, and then we're gonna play with the stencils. You're not going to believe the amount of footage that I took for this review, but then I just realized I need to just wrap it up in one clip because I was just making you stick around way too long. But what I want to say is that these are really high quality. I did leave a little mess in this palette, so I can just show you how easily it cleans up. This version has the glazed ceramic tiles, which I would recommend because they do clean off really well. The plastic, though, can stain, and mine came with a little magic eraser, but I was still not able to get all of the stain off of the plastic part on the inside. I did get some paint on the outside, and that cleaned up really well, but the ceramic parts clean up really well just with a paper towel, so that's kind of nice. Having a little bit of magic eraser just to get what's left on the plastic is handy, but I'm not too worried about my palettes being pristine. These are, I believe they're 3D printed, and they use PLA plastic, which is a bioplastic. It's made from sugarcane and other plant sources. They say to keep it out of the light and keep it out of extreme heat and not stack anything on top of it. I think it's probably about as durable as any other plastic. PLA is a compostable plastic, but it does require certain conditions for it to actually compost. However, with a watercolor palette, I'm thinking you're probably not going to want it to biodegrade. So for that reason, it doesn't matter to me too much if it's a bioplastic or if it's a traditional plastic. The benefit may be in the production of it. I'm not all that versed in petroleum-based plastics versus plant-based plastics. I would think it would be a little bit more environmentally friendly, just the fact that they've used plants instead of oil to create the plastic. So, but on a biodegradable stance, I don't think you'd be sending these off to be biodegraded anytime soon. But I did want to mention that in case it's important to you. The cost of these palettes, like this palette here with the 9 full pans, is around $40 to $44, I think. They have a bunch of different options, and when I'm reviewing a product, I like to think of like, what does it cost? I like to like evaluate it first and find out what it costs, and then see if that changes my opinion. And I was looking through their website. They have tons of options, and one thing I thought was really interesting is that they have these water cups that will clip on to many of the palettes and will also go around the palette, kind of slide on around the palette and then magnet together, kind of like the way the portable painter does with its little clip. And the portable painter is my preferred travel palette. That's one I take with me if I'm going to be doing any serious traveling and serious painting. And if I didn't have the portable painter, I would say this would definitely be a contender. And I would say price-wise, this is a little more rugged than the portable painter, and the cost would be more. Depending on your pan configuration, it could be a little bit more or it could be significantly more. It really just depends on the options you're going with. I will put links in the video description to their website, their Shopify website. That is, I think, more affordable if you're in the United States. If you're outside of the United States, Etsy might be a better choice. On the Shopify site, it says to, if you're shopping from outside of the USA and Canada, to check out their Etsy shop. But I think the prices are pretty close. It might be higher on one or lower on one depending on the product. But obviously take a look. Now I did want to show you the stencils, and I want to show you tracing one because it goes so fast. But look at the detail. And this is with a fine liner. It worked so well. I just thought I would get a bunch of these ready to have on hand so that if I'm swatching out a new product, or I just want something quick and kind of mindless to do, I can color these in with whatever media I feel like. But I did want to show you how well they were able to trace. These are just some watercolor postcards, which I thought these would make really nice little watercolor notes to send off to somebody. And this is a set of 6 stencils. The 6 stencils, I'm not sure if it comes with a box or not, but the 6 stencil set I think was $44, or each of these are available for $9 each, I believe. So they're on the pricey side, but I think once you see how quickly they trace, you'll see whether that would be a good fit for you. What I liked was that I could hold these down and I didn't have to worry about them slipping, and they were very easy for me to trace. It's very easy to find the edges. I don't have the little hairy bits like I do when I am tracing a Mylar stencil. I've never had a stencil thick like this, with the exception of, like, you know, French curves and things like that, and I really like it. Obviously it's a swatch stencil. It's meant to be traced. It's not something you would use on the jelly plate or something you would ink blend through, so having this thickness is a positive. And I'm going really quickly. I'm not really taking that much care, but that's the thing, you don't need to. And by the time it would take me to find a block and my stamps and the ink, I could have this already traced out. I noticed these circular ones, they do have palettes also that will fit some stencils and then also have room for the paint. So like the box is like this, but they would actually be configured for paint as well. So I thought that was kind of neat. And then just to make my little postcards, what I'm doing is I am taking just a rubber stamp and waterproof ink, and I'm stamping a sentiment as well. And that way, if I want to, you know, after I've done testing out my colors, if I don't want to keep the swatch, then I can give it away as a mail it as a postcard or something, just a little hello postcard. But that's just, you know, I always like to think of like different ways I can use products, because the more ways you can figure out how something you're going to use for, say, you're buying this thing because you want to use it for your art practice, but you also like to make cards, or we all have, you know, people we might want to send a postcard or a little note to somebody once in a while. So having something that you can use not just for swatching something out, but, oh, look, I've got this card, now I can mail that. I have something else I can do and share my creativity. I thought the printing felt really nice and sturdy. I really like these Gansai style pans. Honestly, they have so many different options that, you know, maybe you just want magnet pans that are like this style. Maybe you want a bunch of these split pans. Maybe you want just a bunch of half pans with good magnets on them, or, you know, I feel like they offer, they do feel like more of a premium product than a budget product, but I feel like what they're offering, since you can get exactly what you want, it's worth the price. But, you know, they are expensive. If you already have palettes you're happy with, then these might not be a good option for you. Or if you're on a budget, these are probably not going to be the best option for you. But if you're very picky, you're very specific, you want a certain thing, you want to make sure it's high quality, you're environmentally conscious, and you don't want to subsidize the, you know, oil industry with your crafting and art purchases, and you want to do something that's a little bit more earth friendly. And I do put those claims with a grain of salt, because I really don't know how earth friendly bioplastic is. Just because it's like, it's not like you're going to chuck this in your, like, I never want to paint again, I'm going to chuck this in my compost pile and it's going to compost in a month. That's not how it works. It needs to be in an industrial composting facility in order for it to break down quickly. And I don't even know if we have any of those in this country. And I'm not a big, I don't know that much about 3D printing. I know it takes quite a lot of time to print stuff, and I know these are a lot more costly to make than just your basic injection molded plastic palettes that you're going to buy on Amazon. But for the, you know, for the options they offer and the quality, I think they're a good buy. I think, you know, I think they're fairly priced when you look at the materials and what goes into them and what a niche they're filling. I think if I had to pick, if I was going to recommend one thing that I thought looked really unique on their website, they have a couple palettes. One's a square, and the flaps fold out, kind of like a clover. And then you can hook a wash cup to it, and it also has and the wash cup will fit around it. So it's kind of like the portable painter in that respect. But you wouldn't like have it over your leg like the portable painter goes. I think that's really worth looking at. It's more expensive than this. And then they have a smaller palette. It's really small. It looks about the size of like, I don't know, like maybe a little bigger than a matchbox, and it has the wash cups that slide over it, and and it can either have 12 or 24 pans. And I think that one looks really great too, because it looks like it would fit in your pocket or in your purse, and you still have that ability of having the brush washer cups there too. This is really nice. This is, I think, more of your standard type of palette. You've got spaces to put your brushes in. You know, you can hand hold it while you're painting. You know, it's nice. I like the ceramic palettes, mixing area palettes a lot, because they don't stain and they don't bead up. I'll show you, I'll put a little bit of paint out there. We can see, I'll use this brush instead. We can do, oops, I haven't fully let my paint dry out on that, but you can see how we get a nice satisfying puddle. It's not beading up. We can see what we have. We can see what we're mixing really clearly. But if you do get it over to the edge, which, I mean, if you're like me, you're probably you're paint kind of fast and furious, and then, you know, it goes everywhere, you will get a little bit of staining. So as long as you're okay with that, I would, and you're okay with the price and it meets your needs, it's definitely a nice option. So you can see, even if I add a lot of water to it, it's still not beating up, which I think is really nice. But anyway, there you have it. Those are the products that I was sent to review from Alchemist X Journey, or Alchemist Journey. I don't know how they say it. I apologize. They also have a YouTube channel where they will show like opening up the palettes and just kind of like if you tip it upside down. Well, now that I have should have done that. Well, actually, maybe I can. No, I'm gonna make a mess. I'll show you cleaning that again. I'll show you, these don't want to, well, hopefully they won't fall out because they're all full of paint right now, but I'll show you how well, you know, they're not going anywhere. Oh, I think that's really nice. They're a lot stronger than like when we put the magnet tape on the bottom of our pans to hold them into our tins, which I really do appreciate that. But because the plastic is textured, I do find that even with the magic eraser, I still get that staining around the ceramic area. And you can get it with a resin area. I don't know if there's a difference in price. I've been looking at the website, but I couldn't recall if they had a difference in the price of the ceramic or resin, but I would go for the ceramic. I don't know how they get them so thin like that. But yeah, as long as you don't mind a little more weight than your typical plastic palette, I think, and you don't mind a little bit higher price, I think they're good. And they certainly have any option you can think of. So with that, I will say farewell, and I will save you from all of the other footage that I did. But basically, I was just trying out the swatching. I painted a couple of one of the swatching things. That was about it. It was nothing too exciting. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and links to everything is in the video description. Like I said, I'll link to the video, their Shopify site in the video description, and then below the video there'll be links to their Etsy shop. And because I'm allowed to link through YouTube, I can link directly to Etsy, which is kind of handy. All right, thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.